Have you ever stopped to think that the door that won't open might actually be divine protection? What if I told you that the universe is working in your favor precisely when you feel like everything is going wrong? Virgos, this video will completely change the way you see the obstacles that appear in your path. You know, when you try everything, do your best, plan every detail with that perfection that only you know how to have, but even so, the door remains closed? That job doesn't materialize, that relationship doesn't progress, that project simply doesn't take off. And you're left there questioning yourself, blaming yourself, thinking about what you did wrong. But today I'm going to show you something that will bring immense relief to your heart. There are 9 very clear signs that these closed doors are not punishment, not bad luck, not your fault. They are divine protection. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, is protecting you from situations that seem good on the outside, but that inside carried suffering, disappointment, and a deviation from your true purpose. In this video, you'll discover exactly what these 9 signs are, how to recognize them in your life, and most importantly, how to trust this process even when everything seems to be against you. Because Virgo, the truth is you're not being rejected. You're being redirected. And when you finish watching this video, you'll understand that every no you received was actually a disguised yes to something much bigger that's coming. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and come with me to discover how the universe is protecting you at this very moment. First sign, you feel an unexplained discomfort before the door closes. The first sign that the universe is closing a door to protect you is that discomfort you can't explain in words. You know, when you're faced with an opportunity that seems perfect on paper, everything is right, all the details fit together. Other people even tell you that you'd be crazy to refuse. But deep down, really deep down, something is bothering you. A strange feeling in your chest, a restlessness that won't leave you in peace, an inner noise whispering that something isn't right. Virgo, this discomfort isn't common anxiety. It's not just your fear of change or that insecurity that sometimes paralyzes you. It's different. It's as if your whole body is trying to warn you about something that your rational mind hasn't yet been able to identify. And then comes the interesting part. The door closes. The job goes to someone else, the relationship ends before it even properly begins, the change you planned doesn't happen. And at first it hurts. You feel rejected, frustrated, you even question your own competence. But pay attention to what happens next. Over time, information begins to emerge. You discover that the job had a toxic environment that had already made several people sick. You learn that the person wasn't who they pretended to be. You discover that that path would lead you away from what truly matters to you. And then everything makes sense. That discomfort was your body absorbing energies that you weren't yet able to consciously process. It was your intuition, which in Virgo is extremely sharp, alerting you to invisible dangers. The universe uses its own internal protection system to keep you away from what isn't meant for you. And you know what's most beautiful about all this? Even when you don't understand why, even when it hurts, even when it seems unfair, there's a greater force watching over you. So the next time you feel that inexplicable discomfort and the door closes right after, don't blame yourself. Be grateful, because you've just been spared something that would hurt much more than this temporary rejection is hurting you now. Second sign. Obstacles always appear at the last minute. The second sign is when everything seems to be going perfectly well, and then at the very last moment, an obstacle suddenly appears out of nowhere and prevents it from happening. You know this situation well, don't you, Virgo? You plan everything down to the smallest detail. Organize each step with that care that only you possess. Prepare yourself mentally and emotionally. Everything is right. Everything is ready. All that's left is to take the final step. And right at that moment, something happens. The contract isn't signed due to a technicality. The person disappears without explanation. An unforeseen event changes everything. And you're left there, unable to understand how something that seems so perfect could go so wrong. The first reaction is to feel extremely frustrated. Because for you, who values organization and planning so much, having everything crumble at the last second is one of the worst feelings in the world. You review each step, look for the mistake, try to understand where you went wrong. But here's the truth that needs to be told. You didn't fail. There is no mistake on your part. What exists is divine intervention protecting you from following a path that would lead you to the wrong place. When the universe closes a door at the last moment, it's because it allowed you to get that far so you could be absolutely certain you tried. So you would never be left with that doubt, that maybe, that what if. You went all the way, you did your part, you gave your best. And even so, the door closed. This means it wasn't a lack of effort, it wasn't a lack of preparation, it wasn't that you weren't good enough. It simply wasn't the right path. And do you know why this happens at the very last moment? Because if it closed earlier, you wouldn't believe it. You would think you could have tried harder, done things differently, put in a little more effort. So the universe lets you go to the end so you can have peace of mind. So you know without a shadow of a doubt that you did everything within your reach and that even so it wasn't meant to be. And that, my dear, is a gift. It's a way of freeing you from the weight of guilt and doubt. It's a way of showing you that there are greater forces working in your favor, even when it seems like everything is conspiring against you. If this message resonated with your zodiac sign, trust me, it's no coincidence. When the universe wants to speak to you, it sends exactly the right signal. And you're here because you needed to hear this today. Your contribution as a subscriber or member is what keeps these messages alive. Messages that touch, awaken, and transform lives. And if this video made sense to you, leave your birth date in the comments. Now let's continue with our video. Third sign. You lose interest suddenly and inexplicably. The third sign that the universe is closing doors to protect you happens within yourself. It's when what you so desperately wanted, what you pursued with dedication, what occupied your thoughts day and night, suddenly loses all meaning. The interest simply disappears. And it's not a gradual loss. It's as if a key flips inside you, and from one moment to the next, what seems so important ceases to have any appeal. Virgo, you who are so committed to your goals, who don't usually give up on things easily, this type of internal change can be very confusing. You wonder what happened, why you no longer feel that excitement, that desire, that sparkle in your eyes. You even question whether you're being weak, whether you're giving up too easily, whether you should push yourself and continue even without feeling like it. But listen carefully to what I'm going to tell you. When the universe decides to distance you from something, it doesn't just work externally by closing doors. It also works internally, changing your perception, altering your desires, redirecting your heart. Because what good is it for him to close all the doors on the outside if you continue with that obsession on the inside? You would suffer, you would fight against it, you would force something that is no longer meant for you. So he does something even more generous. He removes from within you the will to keep trying. He extinguishes that flame that kept you tied to something that no longer served you. And that, my dear, is a blessing in disguise. Think about it. How many people do you know who continue to insist on relationships that have already died, just because they can't let go? How many people are stuck in jobs that drain their energy, just because they can't imagine anything else? How many people pursue dreams that are no longer theirs, just out of stubbornness or fear of admitting they've changed? When you lose interest naturally and inexplicably, the universe is sparing you from that prison. It's freeing you from something that would keep you trapped, unhappy, far from your true path. And the most interesting thing is that later, when you look back, you clearly realize that it was never really yours. That desire was planted by external influence, by the expectations of others, by an old version of yourself that no longer exists. Your true self never really wanted that. And when the universe withdraws that interest, it is actually reconnecting you with who you truly are. Fourth sign. The same situations repeat themselves to teach you something. The fourth sign appears when you realize you're experiencing the same situation for the third, fourth, fifth time. The scenery changes, the people change, but the pattern is always the same. You try to open a door, it closes. You try another, it closes again. And another, always in the same way, always with the same type of obstacle. And then you start to despair, thinking there's something wrong with you, that you're cursed, that nothing will ever work out in your life. But calm down, breathe, because this isn't a curse. It's a lesson. The universe isn't closing these doors to punish you. It's closing them because there's something you need to learn before moving forward. And it will continue closing these doors, presenting the same situations in different ways, until you finally understand the message. Virgo, you are intelligent, observant, you have an impressive analytical capacity. So when the same thing keeps happening, stop and reflect. What is the pattern here? What do all these situations have in common? What behavior of yours is repeating itself? What limiting belief is keeping you trapped in this cycle? Sometimes the lesson is about boundaries. You need to learn to say no, to value yourself more, to not accept crumbs. Then the universe will continue to put you in situations where you are undervalued, until you finally understand that you deserve more. Sometimes the lesson is about control. You need to learn to let go, to trust, to to accept that not everything depends only on you. Then the universe will continue to close the doors you try to force open until you learn to flow, to allow, to surrender to the divine timing of things. Sometimes the lesson is about authenticity. You need to stop trying to fit into places that weren't made for you. Stop molding yourself to please others. Stop denying who you really are. Then the universe will continue to reject you from these spaces until you finally embrace your truth and seek out the right places. Repetition is not cruelty. It's didactic. It's the universe being patient with you, giving you chance after chance to learn what needs to be learned. And you know what happens when you finally understand the lesson? The doors stop closing in that way, because you've evolved. You've grown. You're no longer the same person who entered that cycle. And now you're ready for a whole new level of experiences. Fifth sign. You receive warnings through dreams and strong intuitions. The fifth sign that the universe is closing doors to protect you comes through messages that arrive when you are quiet, silent, connected with something greater. These are dreams that show you bad situations related to the path you want to follow. These are the very strong intuitions that tell you not to go, not to accept, to wait. These are those premonitions that you can't ignore no matter how hard you try. Virgo, you have a direct communication channel with the spiritual world, even if you don't realize it or don't believe it. Your sensitivity, which you often try to hide or deny, is actually a powerful antenna that picks up signals that other people don't. And when the universe needs to warn you about something, it uses exactly that sensitivity. How many times have you dreamed of a specific situation, and days later it happened exactly as you saw? How many times have you had that inexplicable certainty that something wasn't going to work out and it really didn't? How many times have you ignored a premonition and then regretted it? Well then, these are not coincidences. These are direct communications from the spiritual plane trying to guide you, protect you, warn you about dangers you cannot yet see with your physical eyes. And here's the most important thing. When you have these dreams, these intuitions, these premonitions, and yet the door closes, it's not your fault for not listening sooner. Sometimes you need to live the complete experience to truly learn. Sometimes the warning serves more to prepare you emotionally than to make you avoid it entirely. Because when the door finally closes, you're not so surprised, not so devastated, because deep down you already knew. The warning served to soften the impact so that you were already somewhat expecting it. And there's something more. When you start paying attention to these signs, when you learn to trust your intuitions and your dreams, you develop a conscious partnership with the universe. You stop being someone who only reacts to what happens and become someone who co-creates their own reality together with divine forces. So pay attention to your dreams. Write them down when you wake up. Respect your intuitions even when they don't make logical sense. Because the universe is trying to speak to you all the time. And the more you listen, the clearer you will become about which doors should be closed and which should be opened. Sixth sign. People appear to lead you astray from the wrong path. The sixth sign happens when people appear in your life seemingly out of nowhere and somehow interfere with your plans. It could be someone who offers you a different opportunity just when you were about to accept another. It could be someone who tells you important information that completely changes your decision. It could be someone who simply asks you a question that leads you to reflect and realize that that path wasn't the right one. Virgo, the universe works through people. It uses other human beings as instruments to guide you, protect you, redirect you. And often these people don't even know they are being used in this way. They simply appear, say or do something, and without realizing it, completely change the course of your life. Have you ever stopped to think about that friend who called you exactly on the day you were going to make an important decision and told you something that made you change your mind? That person you met by chance who opened your eyes to something you weren't seeing? That piece of advice that came from someone unexpected and resonated so deeply within you that you couldn't ignore it? These are not coincidences. They are divine interventions disguised as casual encounters. And the most interesting thing is to observe the pattern. When you're on the right path, the people who appear support you, encourage you, and open doors for you. But when you're on the wrong path, the people who appear question you, make you think twice, and present obstacles. And that's not because they're against you. It's because they're being used by the universe to protect you. There's an ancient wisdom that says when the student is ready, the master appears. But it's also true that when the student is on the wrong path, the detour appears. That person who shows up and messes up your plans may actually be saving you from a terrible mistake. That acquaintance who makes you a different proposal may be offering you the way out you didn't even know you needed. So pay attention to the people the universe puts in your path, especially during moments of decision. Listen to what they have to say. Observe the opportunities they bring. Because often the door that's closing in front of you is closing, because another one is being opened by someone who has just arrived in your life. Seventh sign. Your physical body reacts with real symptoms. The seventh sign that the universe is closing a door to protect you manifests directly in your physical body. Suddenly you start having inexplicable headaches when you think about that situation. Or your stomach churns every time you have to deal with that person. Or you become extremely tired with no energy at all when you try to force your way through it. Virgo, you who already have a natural tendency to somatize emotions, need to pay special attention to this sign. Your body is wise. It knows things that your mind hasn't yet processed. It picks up energies that you don't consciously perceive. And when something isn't good for you, your body literally gets sick. It's not psychological in the sense of being imagination. It's psychosomatic in the sense of being a real physical reaction to a true energetic threat. How many times have you gotten sick exactly on the day you had to do something you didn't want to do? How many times has your body simply collapsed when you were overexerting yourself on something that wasn't yours? How many times has an illness prevented you from moving forward with something that you later discovered would be awful? These aren't sabotages by your body, they are protections. Your immune system isn't betraying you. It's defending you from threats that go beyond the physical. And here's something many people don't understand. When the universe closes a door using your own body as an instrument, it's because it knows you wouldn't stop otherwise. You are persistent, determined, stubborn when you want something. You would keep trying, striving, wearing yourself out until you couldn't take it anymore. So the universe uses the only method that truly makes you stop. It drains your physical energy. It forces you to rest, to retreat, to reconsider. And do you know what happens when you finally let go of what was harming you? Your body recovers. The headache goes away, your stomach calms down, your energy returns. Because you weren't really sick. You were being protected. So the next time your body reacts strongly to a situation, don't ignore it. Don't force it. Don't take medicine and keep trying. Stop. Listen to what your body is trying to tell you. Because it's being used as a messenger from the universe to save you from something that would destroy you much more than any temporary physical symptom. Eighth sign. External circumstances beyond your control interfere. The eighth sign occurs when situations completely beyond your control arise, preventing you from moving forward. The company closes, the person moves to another city, the pandemic changes everything, a change in the law alters your plans. These are things so big, so beyond you, that it becomes absolutely impossible to blame yourself. And yet you try. You're there racking your brain trying to find a way around it, to get around it, to make it work somehow. But the more you try, the more obstacles appear. The more you push, the more circumstances conspire against you. Virgo, when this happens, the universe is practically screaming at you to stop. It's using forces so great, so obviously beyond your reach, precisely so that you understand that it no longer depends on you. That it's not a matter of trying harder or trying differently. That it simply isn't meant to be. And this is difficult for you, I know. Because you were taught to believe that with enough effort, enough planning, enough dedication, everything is possible. You don't like to give up. You don't like to accept that something is beyond your control. But sometimes the greatest wisdom lies precisely in recognizing when you need to let go. There's a saying that man plans and the universe laughs. It's not meant to mock you. It's a reminder that there's a bigger plan unfolding that you can't see from your limited perspective. And when external circumstances interfere with your plan so clearly and definitively, it's because the bigger plan is taking you somewhere else. Think of the stories you know of people who lost their jobs and then created incredible businesses. Of people who were rejected in relationships and then found true love. Of people whose plans were completely destroyed by external circumstances and who later looked back, grateful that it happened. These stories are not exceptions. They are examples of how the universe works. It closes a door you were trying to break down and opens a window in another place you didn't even know existed. But to see that window, you need to stop banging on the closed door. You need to accept that it's over. You need to trust that something better is being prepared. Ninth sign. You feel peace after the door closes. The ninth and final sign is the most revealing of all. It's when you realize that after the door finally closes, after you stop fighting, after you accept that it wasn't meant to be, a strange peace takes over. At first it may hurt, it may be difficult, there may be all that frustration and disappointment. But after a while, when the dust settles, you feel something different. A relief, a lightness, a feeling that you've lifted a weight off your shoulders that you didn't even know you were carrying. Virgo, this peace is not resignation. It's not you giving up on life or losing hope. It's your spirit recognizing that you were saved from something bad. It's your soul breathing a sigh of relief because you finally got off a path that led nowhere good. It's the universe confirming that it did its job of protecting you. Pay attention to this feeling, because it's the clearest proof that that door closed for the right reason. If you continue to feel that deep anguish, that feeling of irreparable loss, that emptiness that doesn't go away, it would be a sign that it really was something important that you lost. But when peace comes, when relief comes, when you can look back and think, thank goodness it didn't work out, then you know for sure it was divine protection. And there's more. Usually right after that peace, right after you truly let go, something new begins to appear on the horizon. A new opportunity, a new person, a new path you weren't even looking for, but which presents itself so naturally, so easily, so rightly that you immediately perceive the difference. You realize that this is for you, that this is flowing, that this has the blessing of the universe. And then you understand everything. You understand that that door needed to close so that this one could open. That you needed to let go of the wrong to have your hands free to receive the right. That each no you received was actually preparation for the yes that was coming. So when you feel that peace after a door closes, be grateful. Be deeply grateful for having been protected. Be grateful for having a universe that loves you so much that it doesn't let you follow the wrong path, even when you insist. Be grateful because you are now free to receive what is truly yours. If this message resonated with your zodiac sign, trust me, it's no coincidence. When the universe wants to speak to you, it sends exactly the right signal. And you're here because you needed to hear this today. Your contribution as a subscriber or member is what keeps these messages alive. Messages that touch, awaken, and transform lives. And if this video made sense to you, leave your birth date in the comments. Virgos, we've reached the end of this video, but not the end of this journey of self-discovery and spiritual connection. Today you discovered 9 signs that the universe is closing doors not to punish you, but to protect you. You learned that inexplicable discomfort is your internal protection system warning you, that last-minute obstacles are divine interventions sparing you from mistakes, that loss of interest is the universe freeing you from prisons disguised as dreams. You understood that repeated situations are lessons preparing you for the next level, that dreams and intuitions are direct messages from the spiritual plane, that the people who appear in your path are divine instruments redirecting you. You understood that your physical body is a wise messenger that gets sick to protect you, that external circumstances are greater forces guiding you to the right path, and that the peace that comes afterward is confirmation that you have been saved. Now, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you continue fighting the closed doors, or will you begin to trust the process? Will you continue to blame yourself for rejections, or will you understand that they are redirections? Will you continue forcing your way through life, or will you learn to flow with the wisdom of the universe? I invite you to do something different starting today. The next time a door closes, before you despair, before you blame yourself, before you force it, stop and ask, Universe, what are you trying to show me? What are you protecting me from? Where are you taking me? And then wait silently for the answer. It will come. Through a sign, an intuition, a person, a circumstance. It will come and show you that you were never alone on this journey, that there is a greater force loving you, guiding you, protecting you from things you can't even imagine. So take a deep breath, let go of control, trust the process. Because while you are here agonizing over a closed door, the universe is already building an entire palace for you somewhere else. And when the time is right, when you're truly ready, when you've learned what you needed to learn, the door will open so easily, so naturally, that you'll know without a doubt that you've arrived at the right place. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe now and turn on notifications so you don't miss any messages the universe has for you. And if these words touched your heart, if you felt it was exactly what you needed to hear today, consider becoming a channel member. Your contribution keeps this space of light, hope, and transformation alive. And remember, leave your birth date in the comments so we can continue creating increasingly personalized content for you. I'll see you in the next video, Virgos. And until then, trust. The universe knows exactly what it's doing with you.